Hey, it's Mazzy. I don't do shootouts a lot. I've done several shootouts, but I want to give you a little taste. Now, I'm in a live room, not a man cave, dark and perfectly oriented and situated with room acoustics. So you can tell it's live by that. But my original Little Feat Waiting for Columbus, 1978, with the hype sticker directly on the cover. This is a record I got during my record store heyday. Then I got in 1979 the Mobile Fidelity version. This is a version that is all analog. This is an early version with the yellow masthead. They did one in 2010 and it's not as good as this one. So if you are predisposed to Mobile Fidelity still and you want to get one, skip the 2010 with, I believe it might have a white banner. I don't remember the color, maybe green, I don't know. I shouldn't even tease you there. But get this one, that's the better of the two. And the brand new cut, this is the brand new. Now I will say this, we had a little bit of a friendly debate because I do want to give a shout out to my friend, Michael 45 in Germany. He literally yesterday did a shootout. That's his lovely cinema verite style. And he's doing some shootouts between some original records and some new editions. So he has a new edition and he picked up an original. I don't know if he's all off Mobile Fidelity for the rest of his life. I don't know, but he doesn't have it. He didn't include that. Now, what I will say, we had a little bit of a discourse, friendly discourse, not really, but here's the situation. I was on a live stream and I mentioned that before I opened my new copy, that Chris Bellman cut it. And he said, no, Mazzy, no, Mazzy. Well, he didn't say it because he typed it. It's Bernie Grundman. I said, no, it's Chris Bell, or it's Chris Bellman. He goes, no, Mazzy, it's Bernie Grundman. So I opened it up and sure enough, in the dead wax, it's BG, it's Bernie Grundman. Now, if you look at a video that was posted by Rhino Records, I think it's Jason's his name, he says that Chris Bellman cut it. Now, later in the Hoffman forums, he mentioned that, and that video was posted, and apparently did a mea culpa. He said, I misremembered it. It is, in fact, Bernie Grundman, who is on the dead wax. Now, having said that, it's possible that one cut the lacquer, one cut the master, and cut the that whole thing. So, and they're in the same office. Maybe they're all like, doing shots, and the Rhino guy saw Chris Bellman there and mistaken him for Bernie Grundman. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to play these three. Now, I've been a big fan of Little Feat. I only saw them once during their heyday. 1975, I saw them at Winterland, and they were the middle act. The headlining band was Electrolyte Orchestra, and Little Feat was second. Now, I love ELO. I love Little Feat. They're very different types of music. In a way, Little Feat blew ELO off the stage. After that, hard to follow up because they're such a great band. This record is one of the greatest live albums ever made, up there with Little Feat's, up there with Allman Brothers, Live at the Fillmore, and several others. Double album. The CD that initially came out took off several cuts because it needed to fit in the CD format of 70 minutes. So, but I'm talking about vinyl here. So I'm going to play these back to back. I'm not going to tell you what they are until the end. Now I'm in a live room. I'm not going directly in a board, but I also want to do a shout out because I watched a video today that is not unrelated, but if you don't know, I'm sure you do. If you don't know this guy, NASA, Mr. NASA himself, Paul, Baraka P. Dub. I'm going to embarrass him now.
They've been around since 1993 is when they started. They're a German-based label that predominantly...
Baraka P. Dub, Paul, in Houston, has some of the best videos, more technical but fun. He explains complicated things very easily, and he's doing a series now on some of the, quote, audiophile labels, and he compares his needle drops. So you can know he just did Speaker's Corner, he's done Mobile Fidelity, he's done, I believe, Analog Productions. He did early on, several years ago, a whole series of how to set up turntables and Tales of the Dead Wax. So highly recommended. There are links below both to Michael 45 RPM and Brock & P-Dub. Time Loves a Hero. It's the album that they went a little into Weather Report territory. That's all I'm gonna play. This is the first listening. Great cover by Neon Parks, who did almost all their record covers. The great illustrator painter, Neon Parks. Okay, this is number 2. Great live band.
Well, they say time was a hero, but only time will tell if he's real. He's a legend from heaven. If he ain't, he was singing from hell. If he will, but see it ain't always believed. Just make sure he's there. Sometimes lie, sometimes lie, they can be really deceiving. Gotta know where we go. Spends his days in the sun, his nights in the casino. He left the States many years ago, took a fishing boat to Puerto Rico.
But just to tell you the difference, the original was the Mastering Lab. It was cut by Doug Sachs. He did the original 1978 pressing. The 1979, I just realized, yeah, just a year after it came out. Wow, Mobile Fidelity jumped on it. Theirs is cut by Stan Ricker, who was doing Mobile Fidelity at the time. And the new cut, as I said, is a Bernie Grundman collaboration, possibly with Chris Bellman. So one more, and then I'll tell you after you decide. What a great drum sound. Really well recorded. one of the best slide guitar players. Died way too young. So what do you think? The first one I played was the original Warner Brothers record, which is very good. It's clear, it's crisp. My copy is a clean copy, and it sounds great. The second one I played is the new Bernie Grundman cut, which has a more bass. I would say it's a little tighter in terms of comparison. Well, let's go in the last one. The last one is the Mobile Fidelity, which is fuller. Now that is an all analog. This is before all this DSD silliness or whatever you want to call it. Out of the three, I prefer by a good margin the Mobile Fidelity. I prefer the 1979 Mobile Fidelity. That's this one. Again, don't get the 2010. If you want to get one, this is all analog. I don't know about the 2010. It's probably analog, but I don't know. Probably not actually. Probably has a DSD cut, but this is really good Stan Ricker cut. Now, having said that, most people don't compare records, and I think the best bang for your buck is the new Bernie Grundman, which is very good. And if you're not A-Bing these records, which most people in the civilized world don't compare records and don't need 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 copies of an album, they don't do the A-B thing. But for entertainment purposes only, as Michael said, and I'm not going to tell you what Michael thought, you should watch his video because he does a great comparison of it. And I don't disagree with his results. I think it's close. I think the original and the Bernie Grundman are very close but different. The Bernie Grundman has a little more bottom to it in a good way, and the MoFi has more overall bottom mid-range, but not bloated like some people think some Mobile Fidelity gets a little like pushing the loudness button on your stereo. It's not that at all. It's very balanced. In a way, this could almost be a draw. Everyone is good. So again, it is hard to find an original that's clean. It's, again, one of the greatest. It's really well recorded, and everyone here, and these are all three of these are analog cuts, I believe. Yeah, the Bernie Grundman is an analog cut, so they say. So I'm going to believe Rhino, and Rhino does an excellent job, part of Warner Brothers. So that's my take on it. It's maybe not as definitive as you'd like, again, but I give this the edge, but not by a huge margin. And if you went for the Bernie Grundman, I would say if you have an original, you probably don't need it. Although the Bernie Grundman does have a little extra bass thing, but it's not necessarily better. You know, your results may vary. And obviously Michael in Germany, his rig is different. My room is, my guess is a much louder room, a bright room. So that little extra bass, that mid-range stuff is really nice in this room. My speakers, I'm sure, are brighter than his, my Bowers and Wilkins. Although they're tapered off, and with my Hegel 390 Norwegian amp, it really makes everything tight. So that's my overview of one of the greatest albums of all time. Order it now, because you know how these things don't last. But I'd say, if you come across one of these for original price, grab it. I don't know what they're going for, but it's really, really good, especially if you have a setup that, you know, that handles a little more bass. But again, not boomy. It's not boomy at all. Fantastic album. The whole record is good. One of my favorite songs Old George ever wrote is Willin', and I've quoted it many times here. I've been from Tucson to Tucumcari to Hatshepsut to Tamaulipas, driven every kind of rig that's ever been made. Even took the back roads so it wouldn't get weighed. If you give me weed, whites, and wine, and show me a sign, I'll be willing to be moving. Covered by C-Train, covered by the Byrds, covered by Linda Ronstadt, a fantastic song, a great truck driving country song written by the great Lowell George. Thanks for watching. Mazzy loves you. Little Feat is great.